Hi, this is Susie Parker Goins of BlueLightningHealing.com. I am BlueLightningHealing.com, yes, and meditate and Blue Lightning Healing Meditations. I'm Susie Parker Goins. I'm a channel. I bring divine through to help you establish a relationship with your spirit guides. So you have a conversation, no no lecture from them. I'm also an energy healer, Reiki master, past life healer. I'm a teacher who has all kinds of tools and techniques to share with you so you can move forward on your own. And I'm also in general, a facilitator for your healing. All of my links are in the description box for podcasts and financial support and my information. I do thank you for the views I have gotten on my various platforms and for any support, any other support you give me, whether it's sharing, liking, commenting, subscribing. Cash is good too, because that provides me with better resources so that I can actually do this and look like I know what I'm doing. So there we go. So on these podcast platforms, it's still hard to say, I upload meditations on Mondays and my thoughts on metaphysical topics and techniques on Thursdays. I am available for online sessions and phone consultations. You can contact me for current pricing, availability, what online events I'll be at. Best way to contact me is through my email at susiepgoins@gmail.com. And that is going to be in the links too. So today I want to talk about empaths. What are they? What does it mean to be one? Things to pay attention to. This is going to be part one of the whole thing because next Thursday I want to cover techniques for better coping with being an empath or how you can survive and what you can do to help yourself and others. And then this Monday, I'll upload a protection meditation. I know me, I'll probably change it and we'll see. But so, what is an empath? Basically, an empath is someone or a being who can feel energy in such a way that they take it on as their own, whether it's emotions or the energy of a room, sometimes even physical pain. So, put another way, an empath can put themselves in your shoes and feel what you're going through. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have my resource links in the description too, because, that's not, it's a nice thing to do. So the resources I found that state that an empath, that empathy is an innate gift. It's something you're born with. It's one that can't be learned. I don't know. I would like to ask some of you who maybe aren't empathic, but then why would you be listening to these videos? I don't know. I start to spiral into a rabbit hole and I don't need to. But I would like to ask those who do not feel that they are empathic to give it a try. I mean, components of empathy are you can learn them in separate components, like to learn how to actively listen, not waiting for that boom moo you can say and just burn the person, but to listen to what somebody's saying and then formulate your response. To understand, and from understanding a person's point of view, then to feel compassion for them. I really do think it's easier for some. We'll say it that way. I think it's doable though. Okay. But intuition and empathy do not always go hand in hand. You can be both intuitive and empathetic, or you can be empathetic or intuitive. But to assume that if you are one, then you have to be the other, no, that's not true. But so while I just said some people argue that they can't learn empathy, I know you can learn intuition. There are scads of books out of them, and I happen to have several of them. So I think learning to be intuitive is maybe a step. I don't know. But there are several types of empaths. Learningmind.com lists 6, and I would argue that there's at least 7, and we'll cover that last one in a minute. So first off, there's the emotional empath, and that's a very common type of empath. They can easily pick up on the emotions of other people around them or in a room. They can feel the effects of those emotions as if they were their own emotions. I mean, have you ever been infected by road rage? Or somebody else is so happy that you can't help but be happy for them? That's taking on somebody else's emotions for them, or empathy. I okay. Next is the physical and medical empath, and they can read another person's body and see what's wrong with them. Last week, we did talk about body scans and what different blips in different parts of their body can be. Now, to go through and walking along the street and scan other people's bodies without their permission is not cool. It's rude, it's invasive. You did not get consent. So, if you're going to do this, you work with somebody who knows what you're doing, who understands, and who is open to it. Um, let's see what else. Okay, there's geomantic empathy. That's also called place or environmental empathy. You can feel the emotions coming from a landscape, or, like I hear a whole lot of people are feeling the emotions that's left behind. Oh, I wonder, like at like the Civil War sites, there's a lot of emotion set there. So I wonder if that's a psychic imprint instead. Hmm. Mary Summerrain talks about psychic imprints. But to pick up the feeling in a room, like say, oh, okay, how about somebody died and they just found out about it? You can pick up the feeling of that room. So, but it could also be, if you think about it, it could also be one of your past life remembrances coming forward. Discernment, la 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 la. Okay, so next is a plant empath. You know what a plant needs. I mean, my experience, they need water and sun, and even then I have a problem getting them that. Oh well. But you know where a plant needs to go, or you can talk to them and you can sense where they're at. Some empaths have a strong connection with animals. You can tell what's wrong with an animal. I know owners and their pets have a very strong connection. It would have been interesting to hear what pets had said over the 4th of July, what they feel. So, telepathic communication, you can communicate with your pets. I know animal communicators and they're very good. And so that's, I guess that's what they do. There's also claircognizant or intuitive empaths. So there are clairs, they call them the clairs, clairvoyance, to see what's clearly. Clairaudience is to hear things. There's several others, including clairgustance. I don't think I will ever get over that one, where you can taste things as an extra sense. But there's claircognizance, and that is an intellectual knowing from beyond whatever the physical is, or intuition. Now, I know you can learn intuition. I said that just a few minutes ago. But as an intuitive empath, you can pick up information from other people simply by being around them. I see that this is not invasive because people send out energy all the time and you can read that energy. It's when you don't ask, or ask to go further into them, into their energy field. If they're just sitting it out there for everybody to see, I don't see that as being invasive. Versus it's not. But also, this is fascinating to me. Claircognizant empaths know when someone is lying. I have a client who introduced herself that way. So while I'm not going to go out on that limb and test her, would that's a fascinating concept to me. And the reasons an claircognizant empath can tell if you're lying is because they can sense the intention of your words. Okay. So those with that gift, claircognizance, they resonate with others' energetic fields and they can read the energy of others very easily. Again, it's about consent depending on how far you go in. I think I've learned about a seventh kind of empath from Spotty Dog YouTube channel and Sacred Wisdom Circle. Again, those links are in the box. But it's the most spiritually attuned kind of empath. And actually, I've been called this. I had a friend who said, "Oh, yeah, It's like, what? So of course I've gone deeper into it. And it is the the Native American, the Lakota. They call them Heyokas. And those are the sacred clown. They it's a very sacred role one takes. The Heyoka challenge prevailing social attitudes and conventions by being backwards, by doing everything wrong. So they talk backwards, they say the opposite, they wear their clothes backwards. I've even seen images of Heyoka riding a horse backwards. Okay. But they challenge social norms. Like they will interrupt a ritual by hollering or screaming. And, your initial input growing up in the South, as I did, was like, oh, and you just stop and you look at them scathingly. However, the Heyoka's job is to make you question. They challenge everything. I can see where that's me. So it's a role I don't take lightly. And I am honored to have somebody call me that. Okay, next. How do you know you're an empath? Well, not all empaths are intuitive, and not all intuitives are empathic. So you still may get strong intuitive hits or information. That's the clear cognizance there. Um, so, what are some indicators? Other indicators are, man, are you easily overwhelmed in a crowded or people-y place? That sounds like an ad. I am. There's the big warehouse stores that I don't like to go in because I feel that gotta buy, gotta buy. I feel the emotion behind the people who are shopping there, and then processing other people's emotions. It can be exhausting, absolutely exhausting, and that's why I don't go to those big places. You have another way is that you have empathy for another person's experience, even if you've not gone through that experience yourself. So you understand and you have compassion for them. Um, and you care with so much of your heart. Now, for me, I have empathy for those going through any sort of cancer experience because that is me sharing a common experience with somebody else. That's empathy because I know what they've gone through. Being an empath, though, adds the layer that I can feel their emotions surrounding the whole thing. I don't have to guess, I can know. Uh, Sometimes, when you go to these big people events, like I know on Monday I've got a doctor's appointment. So, oh my gosh, I'll have to record that early then. Okay. So after a big people event, do you need a rest? Do you need to take a break? Do you need um, to just recover from the event? Doesn't matter what sort of an event it is, whether it's a happy event or a draining event, it's still overwhelming. And you can find a lot of people or certain events or people very draining. And so you need time to recharge. Other things, what else? What about nature? Do you love nature? Do you find art? Because that would be like the geomantic or a plant empath is somebody who thrives in nature. Do you love to garden? I know it's very therapeutic for so many friends of mine now. Um, there's also that added bonus of, wow, I have my own food, that sort of thing. But there is a connection with Mother Earth that helps you to ground and to release this stuff that you've built up, that you've been overwhelmed with, and being able to work with Mother Nature, whether it's walking in a forest or a park. I like to sit on my deck because I just don't go out. But just to be able to hear the wind chimes from my neighbor, hear the trees and the birds in the morning, that makes me happy and that fills me up. Can you just walk through the garden center portion of the store? I don't know. You got to do what you can. Then, also, something that happens in stores is that people will come out of nowhere and tell you everything. their whole life story. And that's happened to me. I mean, of course, as a professional psychic, a channel, people do that to me all the time. But I was once at a store where I was working at, and a woman sat there for 2 hours and told me her whole life story, everything. And one of the things an empath, I feel it's important for an empath to learn to do is to set that boundary, to be able to say, I'm full, or thank you very much. That was interesting. I have to go now. I mean, everybody has a phone. You can always look like, oh, the time. Look at the time. I have to go. You get to excuse yourself. That's part of your mental health care. Some folks just need someone to listen, which is all fine and dandy, but you still get to say, I'm good. I'm fine. Thank you. I wish you well. That's the other thing. You don't have to fix them. You can say, I'm done and thank you very much and go. It's okay. I can't emphasize that enough. Of course, then that does open the possibility that somebody may try to take advantage of your kind heart, or they just choose not to pick up cues because they're selfish or narcissistic. That's okay. That's when your sense of self, of saying, oh, gotta go now, and walking away is crucial. Empaths are sensitive. They are sensitive to noise, to energy, to sense, to feelings or physical sensation. When I was able to go, I don't know what chemo did to me, but it made me more sensitive to everything, whether it was open up my empathic sense or just have a physical change on me. I can't go to movies without an earplug, without earplugs, you know. And the opening chords of many of the videos that we watch now can be too much for me. My kids know I either have the remote so I can change it or they'll change it automatically. And there are some videos I just can't watch because the energy behind them is too intense. Yeah, they're just talking about a video game, but it's sometimes just way more than I can handle. Um, I don't wear perfumes or colognes. You know, I like smells from a good cup of coffee or, food or the flowers around there, but the artificial scents, I can't. Even some of the natural real scents, not synthetic, but the not, like essential oils can just overwhelming. So people spraying stuff in my face, yeah, I don't like that. We don't even use dryer sheets at my house, and that could be another video is me showing you how to make these wool balls that we have. Some food texture or even clothing texture can set me on edge. Now, I understand there's some sort of sensory spectrum that I know some kids have, and I understand that. That's not what this is about. I am not diagnosing that. I'm not treating it. I'm just saying it's there, so this may be relevant to you or not. You you get to learn discernment. Okay. So sometimes an empath can feel and even take on the physical pain of another person. I know it was during the Star Trek original series, probably season 3, and it was an episode called The Empath. And of course, our heroes are on a planet, and the aliens are testing somebody, and they would, hurt our heroes. And then this woman would come in, take on their wounds, and then heal them. And then later she died because, 1960s. So that's not what we're going for here. But it is possible to feel somebody else's pain. I mean, part of the thing for an empath is not to take it on and heal it. You can't do it for them. I don't recommend you do. There are some people who would rather handle somebody else's pain rather than deal with their own. Oh, that's not serving anybody. It's like taking the pencil away from a toddler. You're trying to teach them to write. They're not doing it. They're taking too long. So you grab the pencil from them and you write it out yourself. Number one, you're angry and frustrated. And secondly, the kid doesn't know how to do it because you did it for them. As a healer, I will give you the tools to learn how to do this stuff. So, Monday will be the meditation about how you can set up protection around you. Think boundaries and how to cleanse too. I know I'm going to mention that later on, but you're not to take on somebody else's problem. denies them the lesson and also means you don't have to look at your own stuff. That's an interesting thought. So let me see. I got to make a note of that. Then you don't take care of your own problems. I don't know. Maybe I even spelled it right. Who knows? So you get to learn discernment. Is this your pain? Is this somebody else's? And then you send it back. That's another cord cutting thing. We have references for that. Um, Empaths are happy to fix everything. I don't recommend you do because then it's so draining and you're stuck doing other people's stuff and not your own. And it's a way to handle conflict. You know, how do you handle conflict? I think to be able, I find that empaths will avoid conflict. And I think the next level for us is to learn how to handle it, to talk in a place that's calm. That nonviolent communication, I think, is really important for us to do so that we can still speak our truth. And then, if that's not working, then we can walk away. Coping mechanisms, we need them. Empaths can also be overwhelmed by the media. I mean, have you ever gone in a social media fast? I have. There are people I choose not to keep in touch with. I am getting better at not scrolling all the way through and trying to get all the things. What did they call that? FOMO, fear of missing out. I'm okay with being clueless about stuff or missing out on stuff because somebody will come in and talk about it. I don't have to. But I do find myself feeling a lot of anxiety or frustration or anger or sadness. I can close it. I can get out of the app. And so can you. You know, think of it as caring for your mental health. Oh, darling, you're not going to miss out. Trust me. Someone will be more than happy to fill you in. And that's when you practice again. Thank you. I'm full. I got to go. So then, after an encounter, do you feel that you need to spend time doing something you love to help you recharge or to drain whatever's there? I mean, you have been drained, so you need to recharge. I love to knit, I love to crochet, I love listening to David Bowie. You know, other people will sit on the porch or drink or coffee or, you know, whatever, just sitting there doing their mandalas, their coloring, whatever you need to do to recharge, do it. Mental health. Yeah. So feeling all the things can be very draining, especially today. There's not shame to be had when you choose to step back from toxic people and separation and situations. That's for your mental health. So to surround yourself with people who are not a drain on you, but who in fact uplift you is crucial. Whether you're an introvert that may prefer quiet people or time, or an extrovert who thrives in the party situations, you still have a say in who you associate with, who uplifts you, who supports you. Being in tune with everything as an empath can make you feel like the odd person out. Where do you fit in? And then when you do find a place, other people think you're weird, not like everyone else. Well, I went through that a lot of times. It took me a long time to understand that I like who I am, that I am perfect the way I am. I chased people in school that I thought I needed to who I thought I needed to fit in with. And then I was so disappointed when that group broke down, or for this other person, I just wasn't good enough for them. They were so caught up in their own negativity that I wouldn't buy into. And so they kept tearing me down. There's no pleasing them. So I tell you, once I accepted that those people were not my tribe, that there were other people out there who resonated with me better, who made me feel better, the world opens up in an amazing way. So those people I tried to fit in with, yeah, they turned out to be toxic. And after years of trying, I realized, again, I am okay with who I am. Now, if that means you spend a lot of time alone because you're cutting out all these toxic people, you know, there are other ways to connect right now. We have technology stepping in to fill some of the gaps. No, it's not perfect. I get that. No, video conferencing is no substitute for a hug, but there is still the benefit of seeing somebody. You can look at their eyes and you can talk to them and Better than a text, you can hear the inflection of their voices. You can see part of their body language. Yeah. And of course, come summer, there's going to be more on in-person events. That depends on your personal feelings of protection or safety. So if you choose to go to there, you still need to have protection around you because there's going to be an onslaught of emotion. So I would advise you to be prepared for that. Have your tools in place. So when this stuff happens, this is the time to set boundaries. And yeah, I have another note here. Monday's meditation will look at boundaries, protection, and cleansing. Maybe not in that order. We'll see. It's going to be cleansing, boundaries, and protection, which are pretty close. So that's what we'll do on Monday. Oh, and I think I mentioned that is that empaths can tell when someone is lying. I have a client who has that ability. I haven't tested it, but it would be interesting to see if you find somebody who has this deep core belief that kind of has been proven wrong, but they still believe it, to see how an empath could understand that. But that's just me trying to do a mind experience. Okay. So now that you've identified some of the traits, now what? Well, tread carefully in your world. You take care of yourself. Empaths have the ability to help, but please understand that you can overextend yourself quite easily. Take time for yourself. Do the things that make you feel refreshed or cared for. For me, it's usually a hunk of chocolate right now. But, I'm good with that. If anything, breathe in love and breathe out that which is not yours. And do that. Breathe in love and breathe out which is not yours. And that's a start. So until next time, blessings.